receiver. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience. This is Zach Martin. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience.
Hi, I'm Jaylon Smith, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience.
You say you wanna go where the lights are flashing. I make it happen. You say you want a man that's always packing.
I do damage.
You say you wanna stay in a 5-star suite where all the stars meet. I get things cracking. That's what you get when you're rolling with me.
I'm kinda like a savage.
Oh!
Receiver. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience. This is Zach Martin. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience.
Hi, I'm Jaylon Smith, linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome to the Cowboys Experience.
You say you wanna go where the lights are flashing. I make it happen. You say you want a man that's always packing.
Hello, everybody. Once again, Silver Blue Nation, Big Game James, and my guy Law Nation. How you doing today, Mr. Law Nation?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Got good news about everything, but hey, it is what it is, man. I love it. I love it. I love it, man.
Well, we're going to have a good time. We got some exciting news that just happened for a player that everybody just loves to death. But let me give a quick shout out to the Cowboys Experience. This is brought to you by the Cowboys Experience. First of all, I'd like to let you know that if you're interested in going to a game and actually seeing a game, going to some home games, please find out about the Cowboys Experience. Barry Griffith and are second to none, have the top prices across the board. It's an experience like no other. As I've said before, time and time again, I got to experience it last year, and it was awesome. Law, I know you've got to experience it from Barry. It's just the treatment you get. You get travel back and forth to your hotel, great seats. If you go upgrade, you can meet players, going to the kind of VIP room, autographs. There's nothing like it. So if you're really thinking about getting a great experience for the Cowboys Experience, please inbox them, get a hold of Barry, inbox us at Silver Blue Nation, talk to Law, Big Game James. We're here for you to try to get the packages so we can see you at these games. We'll be at these games, and we want to be able to have a great time with the fans out there as well. So check out the Cowboys Experience. And once again, we thank you for allowing us to be able to speak on the Cowboys today. So without further ado, I said a lot. But guess what? Mr. Jaylon Smith got signed, man. A lot of people were talking about it. Maybe a fourth guy might be getting signed before the big three. And guess what? It just happened. Jaylon Smith got signed, 5-year deal, $64 million, averaging $12.8 million a year. Total guarantees $35.5 and guaranteed at signing $20 million. That man is a rich man right now. Talk to me, Law.
Yes, this is not a good deal at all, man. This is not a good deal at all. This is a great deal. This is a leadership type deal.
I was about to say, what? Hold up, start over. Hold up, start the tape over. Hold up, rewind, start over. Talk to me, Law, about it.
I'm going to tell you, this is not a good deal. This is not a good deal at all. This is a great deal. And I'm going to say this again. This is a great deal because here's the reason why. Now you got a guy that's a leader of the team that's going to be a leader of this team because he lead through examples. And he had Jerry Jones almost choked up in tears because he said, hey, this guy always at practice. He always on time. He never missed practice. He kind of put that extra never missed practice. And then on top of that, guys, let's listen to the story. Mm-hmm. They say, big game, James, if you fall, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, right? The doctors said this guy would never play contact sport again. Matter of fact, he better be careful when he step out of the bed. You see, those type of things. And then the other scouts said, we had him rated higher than Joey Bosa. We had him rated higher than Ezekiel Elliott. But we fear that he would never be able to walk normal again, not just even play football. So this is like a testament and a story within a story. And I'm telling you guys, there's something special about number 54. Man, I'm glad they gave him that number as well. What are your thoughts on this contract?
I mean, me personally, I feel good about it, especially now. Please don't get me wrong, because number one, he had the redshirt year. He didn't play. His first year on the field, it was a little uneven. Some people wondered because he wasn't. You could see the mind was there. You could see the ability of the mind, but the body hadn't caught up because of the devastating injury he had. And then you sit out the whole year. So obviously you're going to have the rust. And you're coming back from drop foot. It's not like you had a regular broken ankle or anything like that. You had drop foot, something that we've not seen or anybody has ever come back from. So, of course, people are going to think that. So you to get a contract like he did, a very good contract for one strong year of play like he did this past season, is a great testament of his hard work and dedication that he brought back. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen anybody like him in a very long time. He came in positive from day one, Law. I mean, he's always kept up the spirit. You could tell he was like becoming a leader of the defense just by his inspiration and his hard work. Why some people may have been chilling, he's always was putting in the extra work. He was going to come back from this injury. He wasn't going to listen to the naysayers. He wasn't going to be held back from what he felt like he was going to be, what he was before. And now you just see the maturation of it. And he's only 24 years old, man. Wow. He's only 24 years old, and he has a long career with the Cowboys. And as you said, 54 is the perfect number with that visor. He just looks nasty, looks the part, and he plays the part, and you see his swagger out there. And just LVE kind of took LVE right under his wings, and they've meshed together. And, hey, it's been, like I said, a little bit of the changing of the guard where Sean Lee was looked to as that guy. And you can see right now Jaylon Smith is ascending into that position.
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about money before we go into other details. And we already know we all want money. That's something that we need to as well. So when we start talking about money, and a lot of players said, hey, I cannot feed my family with a certain amount of money. Jaylon Smith is not saying that he can't feed his family. You see what I'm saying? He said, now I can retire my mom. I can force her to retirement because now I make enough money to ensure the future for my mom. Not just that, but for me as well. So what he's saying is that I'm not looking for the highest of the highest dollar amount, because ego, everybody know what ego is, edging God out, right? So what I'm saying is just make enough money to provide. Don't make enough money to say, hey, this is what I've done. I'm the best linebacker in the NFL, or I'm the highest paid running back in the NFL. It's not about that. Either you can have the rings or you can have the cash, or either you can have the rings or you can have the bag, or whatever the thing that kids say these days. My thing is with Jaylon Smith, if he'd have set out another year, or he said, okay, I would not play until I get paid the highest linebacker out here. Don't you know that contract's supposed to be like $75 million guaranteed? 17 million or 17 million dollars a year. That would have been his market rate. But he said, no, this contract is not just team friendly, but also pocket friendly for me and my entire generation to become. And it's not something that would penalize the team collectively. So that is a mark of a leader right there, understanding the whole total picture.
Well, you know what? I totally agree with that. And I think the thing is right here, when you were listening to Stephen Jones and even Jerry Jones, they were saying that, not saying that this should be a concept of everybody, but a lot of the biggest thing with Jaylon Smith as well is he does a lot of business outside of football. If you look at Jaylon Smith, he does a lot of business. He has a lot of endorsements. He does a lot of things in the community, but he brings in other residual income to where, guess what? I may not have to be the highest paid because I have other money in my business ventures where I'm okay. So that's something that was brought up as well as, you know what? That's okay for me to take this money because I'm doing something outside of football that's going to help bring in money as well. You seen Dak Prescott doing it. He was going heavy with the endorsement. That helps you. I mean, you look at a lot of these other athletes, you can't just kind of sometimes rely on that NFL or that NBA type of contract. You got to have some outside income, and that's something that helped Jaylon Smith too. I just hope that going down the line, maybe you see some of these other guys, like you said, maybe look at the bigger picture of, we understand you want to be the top paid. We understand that you have great numbers, but we also understand we're trying to win something as collectively as a team. So somebody or some players may have to take a little bit less. We've seen it happen in the NBA. Take a little bit less because they want to get that championship season. We've seen it happen in the NBA. Guys take a one-year deal, leave the team because they want to get that championship. Maybe they're trying to get that concept to go with the NFL players so they can try to get that one common goal, a Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, that's what you're playing for, correct?
True. That's what you're playing for, the ultimate goal. And then you're going to make your money on the back end. Look, there are so many former players that used to play for the NFL will say, man, I love to have the chance and opportunity to play with that silver and blue, with that star on the helmet. Don't you guys know how much remuneration that can bring to their pockets just by mentioning that you are close to the brand? I'm telling you, man, that's a powerful brand right there. Especially if you look at, and I'm not trying to throw any salt or shade, but if you look at the Michael Irvins of the world, you see what I'm saying? They don't have a strong resume to say that they need to be on national TV, but they are. The Nate Newtons, he signed with the DallasCowboys.com. Got a show that he do with them. Not saying that he's not qualified for it. Even Emmitt Smith had his time in the sun out there with the ESPN. So they give people opportunities and chances to be able to express and flex out their brand as long as you sign and be with the Cowboys. And I'm going to throw in this other thing too. Big Game James.
What's that?
Don't you think that Jerry Jones himself, the billionaire that he is, don't you know that he probably invests into Jaylon Smith business as well?
Exactly. I mean,
so it goes both ways.
Yeah. And like I said, hopefully we'll see what happens with obviously the next three guys, the big three everybody's been talking about. But this is a good thing that we're glad that another cornerstone piece of the defense. You already had DeMarcus Lawrence, we were worried about if Cowboys were going to sign him or not. They signed DeMarcus Lawrence, get him in the fold. Now you got Jaylon Smith, you got him locked up. You're feeling good about that defense. We'll see what happens with Byron Jones, but to me, you're getting a core that you want to stay together, and that's the whole thing, that the concept that they're trying to preach. Once again, I understand the players want to maximize their dollars, but at the same time, you want to get a Super Bowl. And if everybody starts maxing out dollars at top positions, you're not going to be able to pay everybody else. I don't care how they always say you can make it work. If that was the case where they make it work, then how come teams aren't able to do it year in and year out? And that can't not be true, because you sign those top guys, then you start missing that middle level type player, and then you become top heavy, you get an injury, you get hurt, and then next thing you know, your players get, it's just a kind of a bad cycle. So this is what they're trying to do. They talk about the Patriot way. Why do you think they've been successful? It's not just because they have a great coach. They do dollars and cents very well, and that's why they continue to win, because they're always replenishing and they don't overspend.
Yes, indeed. They don't overspend, and then they will and deal as well. So if you look at it like this,
draft
TB12,
picks, trades.
You guys already know TB12, Tom Brady, he got his own merchandise. It was selling at the stadium. You see what I'm saying? Inside their complex, on the grounds. And then, of course, you guys might hear 20 to maybe 10 to 20 years from now, ESPN 30 for 30. What if I told you that the Patriots was funneling money to Tom Brady under the covers or under, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, Tom Brady's still getting his paper. Now, of course, we know that he's married to a supermodel, and that's a story of a different day. But what I'm saying is that you got to be creative to outthink that salary cap, because that's been our Achilles heel since 1994, 1995-ish. We've just been bitten by that salary cap.
Yeah, that's definitely hurt us, man. So to me, before we jump into our next subject, to me, Stephen Jones said this. They're not going. I mean, why would they take all this time to get all the way out of quote unquote salary cap hell where it was they couldn't sign anybody. The cap was already strained to get any kind of free agents. Do you really think the Cowboys will work all that time to get out of that just to go back in it with these other contracts? I don't see it. That's why I feel like you don't see contracts signed right now. They're going to take their time. They're going to take their time on how they do their contracts now, and that is the motto. People are not going to get signed instantly for these crazy contracts any longer, and they're also probably seems to me that they're sitting back like, hey, we're willing to sit it out and bet on yourself, but you know what we're going to do in the meantime? We're going to always protect ourselves just in case something happens so we can continue to roll this train. And once again, I believe that's the reason why those running backs were drafted, Mike Weber and Tony Pollard. Not saying they're to replace Zeke. Don't come at me like that because that's not what I said. But what I'm saying is maybe they thought that maybe this could possibly happen. So we don't want to be hung out to dry when we still feel like we have a good team. And that's what you do as an organization. You always prepare for the worst. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yes, indeed. So, I mean, you hit it right on the money right there with that. This team is built now better as it relates to Stephen Jones, I think, and he's handling the books. So opposed to Jerry Jones, because, you know, Jerry Jones, people got this misconception of Jerry Jones. We were talking off camera about, you know, Jerry Jones and his relations with players. And I don't think that we can name 5 players that he done wrong that was a superstar. If you guys do know that, put that in the box, man. Put it in the box and correct us. But Jerry Jones,
probably say T.O. They'll probably say T.O. They probably might say
T.O.
Yeah, they might say T.O. I think people would say T.O., but a lot of people didn't like T.O., so I don't think he would get a lot of vote. You feel me? Anyway, because people still ain't got over him doing what he did over the Star. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of – but I understand what you're saying. Jerry does take care of his players, and he is definitely loyal to me, the players that are loyal to him. To Pete and Jaylon Smith has basically gave that loyalty. So you've seen how it works with these two. Now, going into our next subject, because now you're talking about Ezekiel Elliott, you got Amari Cooper, and you got Dak Prescott. The biggest thing is talking about right now is obviously Ezekiel Elliott. Now, to me, we were talking a little bit off air. I think, in my opinion, when Jerry sees Jaylon Smith with the loyalty in his eyes, and then he sees a Dak Prescott who is in his 4th-year deal. He was a 4th-round pick. He doesn't have an option year. He could be doing some kind of sitting out, but he's not. He's playing. He hasn't said a word. He's playing hard. He's taking all the reps, and I think Jerry sees that as well, and that may trigger him to make sure I take care of you even if you get hurt because you stayed loyal to me. The thing I get worried about is this Ezekiel Elliott thing, is that he's had the off-field issues. Jerry has stood by him. He's had some things go on, and it seems like Cowboys and Jerry has supported him all the way. And then now you hear the little things that's been going in the media back and forth with the agent and as such. Now it's kind of like you hear Jerry say, I can say what I can make any kind of jokes I want with Zeke. I've earned that right. Now it's like I'm kind of worried like this is starting to get a little testy here now.
Yeah, man, especially, man, Jerry Jones, like you said, he said he earned that right to joke. And we as family, you know, family, that's what we do. We joke on each other. I mean, that's what we do. That's what makes us closer, believe it or not. Look, I don't want you as my family member if you can't tell me a joke and I don't laugh about it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you can't talk about, you know, certain topics that may be harmful if somebody else from the outside talk about it, but somebody inside, especially what Jerry Jones done for Ezekiel Elliott, he went to bat for Ezekiel Elliott against Roger Goodell, almost lost his ownership because remember, this is a committee that can vote you out, conduct unbecoming, because they were saying that, hey, Jerry Jones, your comments are a detriment to the NFL at this point. And remember, they got a ruling out there is that if you have so many suspensions and so many fines on a team, then they can start fining the owner and also taking away draft picks. Look, Ezekiel Elliott, he's not a choir boy, Cowboy Nation. And as much as I love Ezekiel Elliott, look, being late for a meeting, being late for practice, running a red light, hit somebody. Now you got a $20 million lawsuit. And guess what? The car was in Jerry Jones' name. Where's the line of disrespect, Cowboy Nation? I love Ezekiel Elliott, but where's that line? Pulling girls bra down. Where's the line of disrespect? And we say, and this is the excuse that we give, and I said it several times as well, Big Game James. He's only how old?
24 years old. Well, he's just turned 24 years old now.
Oh, he's only 24, but we just saw them sign a $64 million, $34 million guaranteed contract to a guy that's the same age. Mm-hmm. Why he's not pulling girls' bras down? Why is he not being late for practice? Why he's not using Jerry Jones' car, hitting somebody, and then all of a sudden now we trying to cover up for him? Why he's not getting in trouble? Talk to me, Big Game James.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Well, just in my opinion, I mean, it all comes down to ability, Law. You know, here's the thing. A lot of people skate things under the carpet or the rug when you're getting 1,600 yards. Then the people don't get as mad because they're like, well, we need you on the team. Okay, well, we need that. You're killing it. We won't look at that as much. You might be innocent. I might think you, but guess what? You're getting those 1,500 yards, so I don't trip as much. And people who say they don't do that, that's just a lie. That's just not true. That talent sometimes overrides what you see, what's going on outside of it. And we see that and know that time and time again because we've seen people who have not been the best get big contracts because of their talent. Yeah. Now you see the Cowboys are like, you know what? We're going to hold back on signing because things are going on. And then now you have the impasse with Ezekiel Elliott saying, well, you know what? I'm going to hold out. So I feel like Cowboys have dug their feet even deeper in the ground because they're like, you know what? It is maybe a slap in our face because we have backed you. Like you said, I went toe-to-toe against Roger Goodell for you. You get what I'm saying? And everybody saw that. And now you're going to say, no, I'm going to hold out because I want to get paid money because I'm listening to an agent or as such. That as an owner, if I was an owner, just talking about me, I did that for my player. And now he's like, I want to hold out. And I'm going to be a little frustrated with that. And I probably would feel some kind of way. And now this is where we're at. And people say, well, Zeke will be there game one. I don't know for sure now. I'm not so sure about that any longer because I think this is getting uglier. And the better Tony Pollard plays, I think the harder this gets where this signing happens with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes, indeed. And expectations, when the expectations meets reality, guys, I have to bring this up. This feels just like Dez Bryant situation, you see. And Dez Bryant didn't have as much off the field issues. Matter of fact, I can say he didn't have any off the field issues. It was just speculations on most of half of it, especially with the Walmart situation, with the tape being there, not being there, with the domestic violence against his own mom, and his mom wasn't credible enough. And thank God that they didn't have all of the domestic violence situations going on in the NFL at the height of Dez Bryant's situation. But it goes to show you that, remember, when Dez Bryant got rid of his guy that was looking over his contract or looking over his workout regimens and off the field deals, remember that guy went away, and all of a sudden Dez signed with Rock Nation. Shout out to the Rock, but still, when he signed with Rock Nation, it just seems like the character went to far left with Dez. You see,
the brand became more important. Do you think?
Right. He stopped throwing the X up. He started throwing the dynasty sign, and then he'll throw up the X. So, I mean, I'm all about personal branding. I think that that's a noble thing for players to do because it's not like basketball or what have you, where their face is visible. But my thing is, what I want to lament to you all is that it kind of feels just like the Dez situation when the organization is throwing a little salt, because I'm not going to say that the Dallas Cowboys is all the way clear in this. I would be foolish to say that, but I would say that the organization throws a little salt, the player does a little crazy things. They say that, well, I'm not going to show up for practice, I'm not going to show up for camp, and then you play sports, Big Game James. You coached it as well.
It just doesn't go away.
It doesn't
go away. It's not the same,
right? You working out in the hills versus going out there and practice.
It's not the same. Things change, and that's what you hit that strongly. Before we finish with that, Law, because you're talking really good. I really love that. Don't lose that thought. Let me give a shout out to everybody that's in here. A great crowd right now. Marvin Hargrove Sr., Daniel Meza, how you doing? Boo Thang, what's up with you? You know she always in there. Daniel Puneo, I believe. I'm sorry. PJ Aaron Hernandez, Douglas Franklin, Floyd Hope Jr., what's up? Derek Abel, so many. Robert Jones. James, I don't know the Talamatis, I think. Don't you get off of here because you owe me $100 if Jeff Heath starts this year. So I'm glad you in the feed. I was waiting for you. I'm glad you in there. Don't forget you owe me $100 if he start week 1. Don't forget we forgot that. Okay, I'm just saying. What's up, Katina? Philip Smith. What's up, Nick Hooper, Vondell Jackson, David Forget. All you guys, I appreciate y'all. Shane Brown, DDP's in there. Sorry, I just love all y'all. Great feed. Just keep it coming in here. But Lawless, what was you saying? Because that was so good what you were just saying.
Man, I was talking about the fact that when Dez signed with Rock Nation, right?
Yes,
and then when all of that contract negotiation for the nation went on, he went off and said, okay, I'm going to practice on my own. I'm going to do my own thing. And before we know it, week 1, he got his bag. He got his money. It was different, though. It was different. Yeah. It was like the damage was done, and it was almost like you kind of sealed his fate because the cold shoulder came right after that. You know what I'm saying? So just like you said, I've been in the game, and it's all good, but when you have the guy away and you have contract or anything like that and you come back to the team, it's different. Not with the players, but that management is different. Like, the sore feelings kind of never go away. And the longer this drags out, the harder the feelings get. And that's what the worry is. And like you said, he's 24. Who knows? I mean, remember when we used to think that this would never happen with Ezekiel Elliott? No, this would never happen to Ezekiel Elliott. I told everybody this. If it can happen to Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, anybody, if it can happen to them, it can happen to any player. No player is above that core where you're almost untouchable, except maybe even a Tom Brady. But guess what? Even Bill Belichick was even thinking about, I don't know if we went out, but even Bill Belichick was thinking about getting rid of Tom Brady. That's why he got Garoppolo. So it does happen. So it doesn't matter how good you are. There's always a replacement. And I hope it doesn't come to this. But the way it's looking, Law, it's just a tough situation right now with all that. It is very tough, man. And I don't know where it's so nasty now. It's a dirty situation. And I just don't know how this thing can go resolved. And I know that we're from the outside looking in, but when I look at things, I look at this right here. We can say, okay, we're from the outside looking in, but you can see with your eyes, with your natural eyes, that Jerry Jones is touched by this. This is no acting going on. There's been a line that's been drawn in the sand that they need to go out and get some Johnny Walker Blue together, sit down, and just don't even talk about football and talk about, hey, how you doing? Man?
Yeah, hash this out, because if it's not, it's going to be bad, Law.
It's going to be terrible bad, I think it was a movie that I watched, and I want to reference a movie on this. I think it was like one of the last Batman's movies, and in the Batman movie, the Alfred told Batman, "Hey, why don't you just slow down? Think about having kids or something, and that's one of the things that I want to bring about, that movie. If you guys were able to catch what I was saying, let me know in the chat box. You saw that movie before, Big Game James?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that movie before.
Oh man, it was a Batman movie. I think it was the last one, and he was falling in love with Catwoman, I believe, and he said, "Hey, why don't you just slow down a little bit?" That's for a different day.
I feel you on that, and I think Douglas Franklin brings this up right quick. He says the fact that Dak and Amari showed up for camp is big, and that's the huge thing. You heard with Jerry Jones, just as you referenced to it, Jerry Jones, he never missed a practice. He was always there, staying out of trouble, always grinding hard. Dak Prescott, his contract is up. I mean, this is his 4th year. He is in practice, hasn't said a word. Yeah, he liked to get his money, but he's still there. Amari Cooper said, you know what? The contract will take care of itself. I ain't going to worry about that at practice. That, to me, is the thing that is ringing bigger than everything else when we look at Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. That's why I would think they would get taken care of now before Zeke, because they're at practice. They're under the contract, and they could be doing the same thing, but they're not. They're at practice, risking. They're taking a huge risk. Dak Prescott could get a major injury, and then they could say, we're not going to pay you that because you're not the same player. Look at all the money he could lose. Look at all the money Dak Prescott could lose if he gets hurt, a major injury. Amari Cooper. He's got to pay more money than Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott has a whole bunch to lose if he gets a major injury. You get what I'm saying? And so I think the organization will look at that, especially Jerry, because he has that type of love for players who show that loyalty to him. And that's why I think this thing might continue to get more uglier because of that holdout situation and the off-field issues that have accompanied it.
Yes, the off-field issues that goes along with it. It's like a side look, like Ezekiel is the main entree, but let me get a side order of off-field issues, you see. And he says, hey, Ezekiel Elliott is the straw that stirs the drink. But now I'm looking at it more so than anything. That Amari Cooper, man, don't you know that if anybody wanted to sit out or hold themselves out from this thing, could have been Amari Cooper? Because Amari Cooper had more grounds to say, hey, you guys was 3-5 without me, right?
Right.
Jerry Jones, you wouldn't have had that playoff game. So all of those tickets that bought that playoff game, home game, that's supposed to be my money. Jason Garrett, you would have lost your job if you didn't go out there and get me. And then on top of that, Dak Prescott, they probably would trade you to La La Land. and Ezekiel, you talking about contract talk now?
Right.
Where were you against the LA Rams? You see,
Right.
What did you do? How many yards you put up? You know, so there are things that people can look at it from different sides of the coin. So I just want to be able to lament that out there and put that out there to the universe that, you know, it could have been sloppy, but Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott showed up.
Yeah. So, well, we're gonna see when it comes down to it. We got another preseason game coming up against the Texans. That is quote unquote the light dress rehearsal game. You've seen Dak has played both games. This could be the dress rehearsal. Obviously, we still may have some players out. You know, with the situation with Jaylon Smith with his back, and now possibly with Zach Morton. We're going to see how this lineup looks heading into this game. Let's say we're playing a lot of the starters. Law. Who are you kind of looking at in this game? Since you've seen the first two games, who are you looking to kind of maybe distance himself, maybe say, hey, this guy really needs to have a good game to really make the roster? Who's kind of standing out in your eyes with this game to really kind of solidify maybe themselves? Because that fourth preseason game is tough because it's kind of like the guys are just kind of filling out that game. This third preseason game is critical. What type of who's kind of you looking at?
Well, we really need to have deep thoughts on Devin Smith. If he want to make this team, he had to show up and show out. And I think that we saw, believe it or not, we saw enough from Tony Pollard already. Not saying that he was going against number ones or what have you, but from a scheme aspect of it, I think that Tony Pollard is okay, right? So I want to see more from the bottom end of the roster, like your Weavers of the world, and also the Jordan Chons. I want to see them a little bit more in action. I really don't need to see Alfred Morris. Do you need to see Alfred Morris?
No.
You guys could just put him on the bench, wrap him up, and just say, okay, we'll see you week 1, week 2, you know. So we don't really need to see Alfred Morris during this preseason. We just need to evaluate the bottom end of the running backs to make sure we're making the right decisions. As far as from a defensive aspect of it, I really want to see what Joe can do. We talked about this on the previous stream. I want to see what Joe Jackson can do against the ones, against some prominent offensive linemen. And also I want to see what the other guy can do, the Daniel Wise. You see, all of those guys on the bottom end of the roster, I really want to see those guys step up and be ready.
Yeah, you know, going into this game, I want to see they said Tyron. Remember we've been talking about Tyron?
Tyron Christian.
Tyron Christian. We've been talking. Remember how we were talking about him when we was in Cali, and we were talking about, you know, I know he doesn't have the greatest accuracy, but man, he's got a live arm. He got some snaps today at third string today over Mike White. I look at that and I like that. Not hating on you, Mike White, but we all understand what's been looking like the past few games. Give this kid a chance, please. I just want to watch him play. I don't care. Just let him get him in the fourth quarter or something, and just let him work. I think he like I said, he has a really live arm. I want to see him play. I'm not saying he's going to get on the roster, but I love for them to keep him on the practice squad. If they have a choice between those two, I like for them to keep him over Mike White. I'm sorry. I try to roll with you, Mike, but I just feel like this other kid has something to him, and I want to see him make it. Also, when you're talking about Devin Smith, I want to see Devin Smith if he can run with those ones. Like you said, I want him to run with that first team that had John V. Johnson out there running with them ones. Put Devin Smith out there so we can see because this is a critical spot. Because Cedric Wilson, I feel like he's going to make it by default because he was injured last year and they really like him. And I feel like he's going to make it by default. I also feel like they love Noah Brown. They have said it. That he loves his special teams. They love how they can keep a 3 tight end set and still keep a Noah Brown because of his blocking ability. And he's young and he can catch the ball when called upon. So that's why they like him. So I think Devin Smith has to have a lights out type game for them to stay on the roster because I don't think they're going 7. They're going to stay with 6. Also, I like the Lucas kid, the tight end. I don't think he can make the team as far as like on the active roster, keeping 4 tight ends, but I liked what I saw from him against that Rams game. And he looked like the 80 was supposed to look like with your boy Rico Gathers. He should have looked like that. And on the defensive side of the ball, they were talking in practice today. Wilson ran with the ones today. Him and Woods were back there with the ones. Jeff Heath was a little banged up today, but Wilson was running with the ones. That's telling to me. One more time. And I want to see, just like you said, I want to see Joe Jackson against these ones. I want to see Jalen Jelks against these ones. I want to throw in that Phillips kid. Let's see if he can make this roster. Throw that Phillips kid in there with some of your guys. Get him in the mix. I want to see those young guys. I know they got Anthony Brown starting at that corner, but, man, put Jordan out there too. Like, let them guys fight it out. I know you like Anthony Brown, Chris Richard, and I don't hate on Anthony Brown. I do like him. But my dog Jordan, I just feel like he's just a better player. But, hey, I'm going to leave Chris Richard alone on that one. And let me see some Donovan Alumba. I want to see him. And if they don't play Michael Jackson again, I feel like they're saving him. But now Michael Jackson may get on the roster now. I'm not saying he won't. But with Byron Jones possibly being out longer at an extended period of time with that hip, now that opens the door for another cornerback to slide on that roster.
Oh, yeah, man, you're surely right on that, man. Byron Jones' injury may be a blessing in disguise for those who are trying to make this team showing up and showing out. Yeah,
so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I really want to see Dak Prescott in that offense play the whole first half, especially if, Kellen Moore maybe throw some wrinkles in there. I'll be good to see. Now, I know what you said about Tony Pollard not playing a lot, but I want to see Tony Pollard play the whole first half. Okay.
Oh, the whole first half. Well, yeah, I can give you that.
I want to see Mike Weber because, like I said, I picked him in the mock draft, Jordan Chung. I picked Mike Weber, and I want to see him because I do want to see him get on his roster. So I do want to see a lot of him, but let's see him in that second half where he can get some carries. I want to see Tony Pollard a whole half. He's given us some stuff in spurts, but I want to see a whole full first half, maybe a little bit of that third with all Tony Pollard because obviously we just been talking about the Ezekiel Elliott situation. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't look like it's going to be signed. Anything's going to happen anytime soon. So let's get this kid out there and let's see because if not, he's going to be getting that ball, dog. So I want to see him.
Yeah, man. Look, there's no fighting words for me with that. Look, as long as we, can avoid everything else, but I still want to evaluate Mike Weber a little bit more. Yes. And I think Darius Jackson, we already kind of
we understand that about Darius Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah. So call to action, man. I thank everybody that's on the YouTube panel. If you guys could do me a huge favor on YouTube, subscribe to Cowboys Experience. Please. We got much more information is going to happen on this page down the line. I do know that we rarely post here, but I'm telling you guys, we're going to be more consistent here. So I would love to see y'all lovely faces again, as well as hit those notification buttons, bell or whatever it is over there on YouTube page. And ding, also, yeah, ding, ding. Those that's on the Facebook panel. I call y'all the Facebook Elite panel. Subscribe it up, man. Post your thoughts as well. I love to see you guys' thoughts after we leave the show. We can go back and forth on the guys that you would like to see. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to get cut. They're going to be on other teams. So that's why preseason, when you see other teams and other games out there, watch them. Find players that making plays. Find players that's out there making things happen because that can be a guy that you guys can reach out to me, Big Game James, and beyond and say, hey, Big Game James, check out this guy that played for Cleveland Browns or check out this guy that played for the Jets so we can go ahead and get those film out there for you all.
Yeah, well, we're going to see what happens. And like you said, with the Cowboys experience, please, if you're trying to get those packages, if you're trying to get to a game, it's an experience like no other. I guarantee you, you will love it. Once you go to one game, you'll be like, man, I'm addicted. I'm going to have to do this all the time. And then when you meet Barry and you see the treatment, it's like a 5-star treatment, you're definitely going to want to come again. So please get in the inbox, Barry Griffith, like, subscribe to the page, because just like Law said, it's been growing. It's grown expeditiously. Do you like that word? Expeditiously. Exponentially. That's the word. Another one I just threw it out there, but it's grown in leaps and bounds as far as the page with the likes and subscriptions, and we want it to continue to keep on growing. So please like and subscribe to the Cowboys Experience and try to get to a game. Get one of those great packages that they have in store as well. So we're almost about to head off this, Law, but a couple things I want to touch on right quick. Some excitement's in the air because they're activating Lawrence and Tyrone Crawford off the PUP. I believe Noah Brown and Byron Jones will still be on, but it's huge to have DeMarcus Lawrence and Tyrone Crawford coming out there, because that's saying that's one more step for them getting closer to game day. And I heard great things about DeMarcus Lawrence being ready. They said he's above and ahead of schedule, and he's looking fierce, and he says he's ready just by listening to his interview. Does that get you excited, Law Nation?
Man, it got me excited because I didn't even know of the news. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Look, we can't know everything. I know you guys know everything. I just know some things, but that's something right there, boy. That was good, man. I didn't know as far as that situation. So I think that by him being ahead of schedule is something that's fantastic, especially when you're talking about his ability to create pressure on that side, and we don't have to really worry about squeezing Dorrance Armstrong and Taco Charlton's of the worlds out there. Oh, I forgot. This weekend, I want to see Taco Charlton do something too, you know.
Hey,
but yeah. Yeah,
he's done stepped up. They like how he's been looking in practice, so he has definitely stepped up. So that's a really good thing that he has, and I feel like that's got him back on the roster because he was maybe lacking a little bit, maybe borderline. But with Robert Quinn going out and him really stepping his game up the past 2 games and in practice, I believe that's kind of solidified his spot. But just like you said, I'm anxious to see that with him. I'm gonna jump into a couple questions right quick because some people have asked a few things. So let me jump in a couple questions, Law. Marvin Hargrove Sr. asked, what do y'all think about making a trade for Brett Hundley to back up Dak Prescott? They won't do it. I'm going to tell you right now, they love Cooper Rush. Now I feel like they're sold with him and nobody else is going to be that backup.
Yeah, I mean, Cowboys, this is the thing. Once they made their mind up, it's hard to turn it, man. It's hard. It's hard. Look how long we rolled out with Stephen McGee, of all people. You know, we hold on to him. We hold on to some people, man. And that's just the reality of it. Now, I do know that with the Stephen Jones regime, he's been known to get rid of players, and he's been known to get rid of prominent players. But I think that they're going to roll with 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think they're going to definitely roll with 2, and we kind of know what it's going to be and what it's going to look like from here. Guess what? Looks like we got a troll in the building, and that's a good thing because we love you guys. We don't hate on you guys because you're in our feed and we're not in yours, so we just want to make sure you understand and know that. I got somebody else asking, Rigo Ramirez, does Mike White deserve another chance in the next preseason game?
I mean, he's going to get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a shot, you know, but this is what I want you guys to know. When he gets this other chance, if it's against the threes, you know what I mean? If it's against garbage time and he's putting up these
that means you already
numbers.
know what it is. You already know what it is when you see that.
Yeah. But this is what we would want, you know, a team to get desperate and say, okay, we'll give you a 7 or a 6 round draft pick for it, or swap some players for him, or something like that. Then I wouldn't mind it at all.
Yeah, but I doubt that happens. But we'll see. But my guy James, and he said he got me, bro. He's still 100 on the bet, so I really appreciate you, dog. James Talamatis, I think it might be. He says, now, do you trade Zeke and pick up some picks, or you just do the waiting game? What would you do, Law? What would you do if you were the GM of this situation? That's a good question. I'm gonna just throw it in your face right now. Bam.
Oh man, and I caught it. You know, my thing is,
Joe got fired.
Yoga Flame. My thing is, big game, James. teams are terrified of making deals with the Dallas Cowboys, you see. So either they overinflate the cost or what have you, or they say, nah, we'll work something else out. They would rather lose face than to make a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. I think that ever since that first Walker trade, when was the last groundbreaking trade that we made?
It wasn't since the Roy Williams, when they did the draft picks for him. They did the Joey Galloway, but it was Roy Williams.
It was all on one side, right? It was never on our side of the favor, right?
Yeah, right. So and I think we moved past that.
Yeah. So we're not in that business anymore. So I think that I like the fact that we know how to draft with Will McClay now running the operation. I do like the folds of Stephen Jones there, but I don't think that teams are going to be willing to will and deal us multiple draft pick for Ezekiel, the main man, Elliott. Although we can have high hopes for it, but I doubt it, though. I doubt it.
I doubt that any team will do the same thing as far as making us better, especially if they think that, we want Jerry Jones a lot. I said it before, not all of them owners love Jerry Jones, and they'll love nothing better than to stick it and never let him win another Super Bowl again. A lot of owners probably feel that way about him, so they're not going to do anything to make him better as a player. Make us better as a team, so I don't think that would happen as well. Got another question here. Jesse Falterman asks, how is Dorrance Armstrong Jr. looking? You tell me, Law. We already know.
That band, he got a band. Now, he don't have that band like Randy Gregory, but he has a band, and he worked on some hand and disengagement techniques. He's been working with, I want to say, my guy, Charles Haley, when training camp was here. He's also worked with the Big Cat. So my thing, of course, he worked with Big Cat all day, but, my thing is those little small nuances, the techniques to disengage and getting upfield, being able to get to the quarterback quicker and going through his progressions a whole lot faster as far as it relates to pass rushing, not less relates to quarterback throws, knowing when to over pursuit and not over pursuit is fantastic. I'm thinking that this guy can show us something more than what we saw out of Taco Charter in his first few years.
Yeah, definitely. I think he definitely has the ability. He's been my kind of guy that I've been watching in camp. I watched him last year. I liked the pick. You saw some flashes of him last year. It looks like he was looking really good in camp, just real strong. He did Tyron a dirty one play and came back and gave Leal a crazy spin move. So he's been doing it in camp, and he looked a lot more active in that last game against the Rams, more so against the Niners. So I really like that. He played really good that game. So to me, the expectations are high for me, and he can play the left or the right side, and I like that versatility from him. And he's got good size. He's about 6'4", about 270 pounds. So he has a good size to go with him, and he has good bend, as you said. So he's the type of player that he won't start or things like that, but he could get those kind of sacks and bunches. He could be one of those guys that you never see. You don't hear him for 2 or 3 games, and then a Philly game, Dorrance Armstrong Jr. come out of nowhere and get 3-4 tackles with 2 sacks. I think that's the type of guy he can be as far as the impact, and let him continue to grow. So definitely love what Dorrance Armstrong Jr. is bringing to the fold in training camp and beyond.
Oh, yeah. And that's what it's all about, Cowboy Nation. The depth purposes of having a guy that can fly out to the edge. And then once you get tired of him beating you, then you throw in, like week 3, you throw in a Robert Quinn. And then you sprinkle in some tacos. You see? So that's what makes this team better than what we were last year.
Yeah, it definitely was better last year, but you got to put it on the field and put it all together. And this is the year to do it. It's no excuses. It seems like every year there's kind of something always seems to kind of derail the Cowboys from what they're trying to do. Now you got the Ezekiel Elliott thing. Injuries, like I said, are still kind of, in the back of my head, because the offensive line, to me, I'm a little paranoid about that, with Zach Martin with the bulging disc possibly, Jaylon Smith with the back acting up. They don't really, to me, have the greatest depth. We got some players, but that depth's just not looking really strong. So Joe Looney and Cam Fleming would have to really step up as far as sliding in positions if those guys didn't. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm glad, like I said, DeMarcus Lawrence is back in the fold. We're going to need him back. Tyrone Crawford, we're going to need all the bodies we can, because these first few games, 5 games, like I said, 4 of them are NFC games, 2 of them are NFC East back to back. So we got to come out strong. We got to come out with some passion and a hot start. I think you said it about a few months ago on your own feed, Law, that we have to come out and start fast. We can't kind of have that season where we started last year, a 3-4, some things like that nature. But we'll see.
Yeah, and then we can't discount these first two games. I know a lot of people, I'm looking at some chat box and everything. Oh, we're going to run dog through the Giants because they're going to be laid out because they're sleeping Giants or whatever. And then we're going to skin the Redskins and all this stuff. No, there's division. And they fresh. They're going to be healthy. We're going to be still trying to install stuff. You see? So just to put that into your mental, that divisional games are always are rough, tough, rugged games. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to knock on some wood, but sometimes when the Cowboys play, we're just not playing against the opposite team. We're playing against the refs. We're playing against Roger Goodell and his antics. And then on top of that, you saw how they did the pass interference calls the last preseason game.
Oh, man.
That stuff crazy.
Lord have mercy what's happening going when the Cowboys play somebody in a big game. I can already see a pass interference call coming up. And that ain't no joke. I just don't even want to think about that this year, for real.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I hate it. I hate it.
All right, so I got a last few questions, and then we're going to head up out of here, Law. I got Jay Rich. He said, do you think it was kind of weird that Jason Garrett was not at the press conference at the Jaylon Smith signing extension? What do you think?
I was extremely shocked because I thought I was going to see at least the head coach going to be up there when your star player gets signed. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe he was on the phone with Dak Prescott. Maybe he was on the phone with Amari Cooper. Maybe he was on the phone making long-distance phone calls to Ezekiel Elliott, making sure that he checked into his room okay. But in my opinion, he should have been up there. For crying out loud, he had his mama up there. So why not the head coach that's going to be coaching you show up and congratulate you and shake your hand and let it be out there for the presser to see, you see. But that's a story of a different day. I'm not going to get too much into it.
Yeah, that seems like some more soap opera stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and I got one last question from J. Outlaw Perez. He says, how do you think the Jaylon Smith signing affects Dak, Zeke, Cooper contracts as far as the cap? We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't really still feel like his contract really affects the cap. I feel like they did his contract just like they did the DeMarcus Lawrence contract. They protected themselves. They gave a good, friendly contract for themselves so they can be able to sign other people. Jaylon Smith came that way, and I feel like it worked out on both sides, and I don't think it's going to affect the other 3 guys as far as their money. It's just of what do the Cowboys want to sign these guys at. That's just what it is. They said they've made offers of top 5 or so with all 3 of them. That's what's been said. So we'll see how it goes from there. Hopefully guys will get signed, but now the way I see it going as far as guys being in practice and things of that nature, I feel like Ezekiel Elliott gets pushed down maybe down the line because they will look at guys being there and guys not being there. That's just my opinion on that one.
True. What kind of pie do you like, Big Game James?
Oh, man, I like sweet potato pie. I smash some sweet potato pie. I think that I'm not really a pie head for real, but I will smash sweet potato pie. But I got to have some of that good whipped cream on there because I just got to eat that together with that.
Oh, wow, like lemon meringue.
I don't mess with no lemon meringue pie.
Oh, okay. Sweet potato. Okay, because they made me hungry when Jerry Jones was talking about, hey, of course, the slice of the pie is going to be a little smaller now because we gave a big chunk to my guy, Jaylon Smith. And shout out to Jaylon Smith, but I'm sitting here like, man, he's making me hungry. And my thing is, I really think that the contract is such a front-loaded contract because the signing bonus is going to be anywhere from 17 to 20 million. And then the other money is 35 million guaranteed, 64 million collectively. And then you're paying the kid anywhere from 11 to 12 million dollars a year, which at his, like when we started the show, which he could have said, you know what, I'm gonna wait till next year to get the max deal anywhere from 16 to 17 million, 75 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, by the contract being negotiated and sliced in that particular section of the pie, I think that now you have enough crust and enough filling to go around to give Amari Cooper his slice of the pie. And then from there, you give Dak Prescott his slice, and then you say, okay, Zeke, you can have the rest of it. This is going to be a big chunk of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that that's what they're going to do with the pie. People that's in the chat box, what slice of pie you going to give first? That's what I want to know. Do you going to give the next slice to Zeke? Are you going to give the next slice to Dak Prescott? Or are you going to give the next slice to Amari Cooper or Byron Jones, for crying out loud?
Byron not getting a slice right now. I'm going to tell you right now. If you were to ask me who I'm going to get a slice of the pie to between those three right now, I'm going to have to say Dak Prescott, because main reason why I say that is because Amari Cooper got a little bit of the injury bug. You know what I'm saying? With that foot, that gets me a little paranoid when he get a foot injury, and he's already dealt with plantar fasciitis already in his career. This is another one of them foot injuries. I'm leery of that. I got a guy who's not missed a game his whole career, who's came in as a 4th-round draft pick. And I'm not pumping up Dak. Some people think, oh, you just want them Dak. No, I'm not pumping up Dak. Like, for real, if Dak was weak, and y'all should see, if y'all really think I'm one of them guys that be on the players, please go check my rant last year on week 2. I killed Dak. I was, like, so fed up and frustrated with him. But guess what? You got to stay with your guy just because you have a bad game. You can't just throw him away. But as I said before, to me, this is the reason why we get paid, and I'll make it quick. He hasn't missed a game, Law. His numbers they're definitely good across the board if you're looking compared to other quarterbacks. He's been the leader that we want him to be. He's took a hold of that mantle. The team is following him. He stayed trouble. That is huge. We don't have the problems of on the off season or any of the off-field issues with him. He's been a model citizen, and like I said, he's a winner ever since he came in the league. Games. Doesn't matter if you feel like he hasn't won them by himself, because it is a team game, but you still judge your quarterback on wins and losses. As much as those ratings, you judge how he wins. That's the whole reason why you got the quarterback. Not because he can throw 5,000 yards every year, but does he win the game? Does he help us win games? And I think that's what Dak Prescott has done for us. So I would definitely sign Dak right now. That number that's been thrown out, I don't think it would be crazy, because as we said before, when you see a Cam Newton and those guys and they sign, within 2 years, Patrick Mahomes is getting ready to come up. Those other guys are coming up, and they're going to trump them just like that. So it's not like he'll be the highest paid top guy for forever. It'll be like maybe 1 year, if that, and he's going to drop considerably. And then within 2 or 3 years, that contract is going to be a bargain. But for somebody who's come out and done what he's done, he definitely has earned some kind of good money for his services. And he's still playing with the threat of he can hurt himself with money by getting a major injury.
True, man. So slice it up then. Slice Dak Prescott, that big piece of pie, and slice up Amari Cooper, and then give Ezekiel Elliott the rest, right?
Yeah, give Ezekiel going to have to be the third now. As I said before, I knew this was going to happen. I wrote the article. I felt that this was going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott. So, and now with the holdout, and you already had some off-field issues, I'm not bashing you, Zeke, at all. But at the end of the day, it's still the running back position, and that is the most devalued, one of the devalued type positions, where there's going to be hard for them to justify giving you money, especially when they look at history and says you can win without one of those star type running backs. No matter what people say, you can love a player all you want, but the history has proven it that you can win big games, you can win championships without having a all-pro back. And I'm not diminishing anything away from Ezekiel Elliott. I'm saying just what the facts say.
Hey, man, you got to check out the facts, man.
So
Yoga flame.
Yo got flame. Yo got fire. You know what I mean? Had a great show today. Thank you, Law, for coming on, man. I love doing these shows with you. They're just always good. We have those good talks. Like, we be having good off the, like, y'all don't even know, like, our off the field talks, like off the air talks be banging. We be like, why did we tape that? Why did we tape that? That was too good. But I love having a great time with you again. Shout out to the Cowboys Experience for blessing us to be able to be on their platform, and make sure you check out those great packages through Barry. But Law, if they don't know who you are, trust me, they should already know you, Law Nation.
Oh,
but
man.
somehow they can find you and where they can check you out at.
Yeah, just check me out at LAW Nation. And then also you can check me out at the mighty website, www.cowboysexperience.com. There's a segment in there that says Media Row. Not just my content. You got West Coast. You got Big Game James, Silver and Blue Nation there. You got also Mark Holmes, and you have Vosh Lombardi, the infamous Vosh Lombardi. If you love to read articles, we also have DDP there. So, and that's the Dallas prospect. Every prospect was once a legend. Well, every legend was once a prospect. I said it backwards, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? And I got to give this shout out to my guy, Drew Pearson.
Yes.
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, another snub, man. They need to put this guy in the Hall of Fame like yesterday. Anytime after this time, it's just too late. Put Drew Pearson in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully this weekend, Cowboys Experience, we'll be out there mixing and mingling with him on Saturday. So Cowboy Nation, if you guys want to hit us up, go to www.cowboysexperience.com. And I'm telling you guys, you will enjoy, I guarantee.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be a flame-on event. I'm definitely frustrated. I'm not back out in the motherland yet, but I will be soon. I will be in the motherland soon. So I'll definitely have a good time. And please, if you're in the Dallas area or in is it in Dallas or Law? Is it in Dallas?
Arlington. It's going to be at the stadium. I think they got something live event there. But what I'll do Friday, I'll give you guys all the details from there.
Okay.
I don't have all the information in front of me right now. I don't want to lie to you all to kick it, right?
Yeah, don't lie to kick it. So make sure you just check it out. Once again, thank you once again for tuning in, everybody. We had a great crowd today. We love you for life. Cowboys Experience, Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James.